the Israeli occupation army has launched intense strikes across Gaza, hitting civilian shelters and infrastructure, killing at least 54 Palestinians since dawn. What do you make of the timing of this escalation as ceasefire negotiations resume and are close?
I'm delighted to join you today, and it is indeed. I mean, the numbers that daily number of civilians and children killed in the Gaza Strip is mind-boggling, and it's terrifying. And in a certain way, public opinion in the West has been used to it, which is really sad. There is clearly in the past 3-4 days an increase in the size and depths of these attacks on the Gaza Strips, on civilians, and clearly it coincides with the state visit of Prime Minister Netanyahu to Washington, D.C. I think he spent 3 or 4 days in the U.S. Capitol, and we've seen a crescendo, day after day, more and more attacks on Gaza. So we have to assume that he had an implicit green light, maybe indirect, from the White House to do so. Why is it happening now? Probably because the White House is busy elsewhere. There's a resumption, as you said earlier, a resumption of the trade war with Malaysia, Indonesia, Thailand, China, etc. Trump yesterday announced that after having tried for 2 months to end the war in Ukraine, abruptly yesterday, under pressure from the war party in Washington, Trump agreed to resume the shipment of weapons to Ukraine. The Europeans themselves are very distracted by the collapsing economy and the war in Ukraine. So all that means that it gives Netanyahu a window, a strategic window, because he knows that the superpowers, the Chinese, the Americans, the Europeans, they're very busy elsewhere. They don't have time to allocate to the Gaza Strip. And so he has a free rein to do what he wants, to make a long story short. And, in the Middle East, people tend to overestimate the degree of sympathy Europe has for the Palestinian cause and the Gaza Strip. In reality, half, if not more, of the European Union member states' governments are right-wing governments aligned with the ruling Likud party in Israel. The European Union Foreign Minister, Kaja Kallas herself, and the head of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, there are both right-wing neoconservatives, very close to the right wing of the Likud party. So even though, every now and then the Irish or Italian or Spanish government, they complain about the situation in Gaza, or the French President Macron, in a very hypocritical way, pretends that he's going to recognize the sovereignty of a Palestinian state. All that is meaningless. And of course, Netanyahu, being a cold realist, he knows that these muted noises coming from Europe are meaningless. He knows that Russia, China, America are tied, and so he has an open check. He has an open, really, window, and he can do what he wills.